On this 1.5 anniversary for Ian, we are greeted by the presence of the pet and the Divine Beast. As usual, since it's a new mechanic, we also get a new Cait to help us guide through this new system. And this time is Avita the Cleric Cait. Beside the Cleric Cait, there is one more character who has some connection to this whole pet and Divine Beast system, and that is the Witch of Salvation, Didorena. So here's how this will work. There will be a new story called the Cait story, and the story is how you will unlock the pet and Divine Beast. So how it works is that you will go and you will get to know these pets individually, and at the end of each pet story, you will get the ability to use them in battle. And after you get all of the pets from the story, you will also get the corresponding Divine Beasts of the pet group to also use them in battle. So for the free pet and the corresponding Divine Beast, there is Stolen Worm for the cat, Luca-On for the dog, Simmer for the bird, Uet for the rabbit, and Svajapati for the pet that has hoof. And that's it for the free pet. There's also another pet category we call the premium pet, where you either get them by having the corresponding traveler with them and having 6,000 awakening stone or 3,000 to exchange with them, or you exchange with them with the pet paw. The premium pet are usually pet you already kind of know in the game. They are pet of some specific character, like Mafa belong to Tatlock, Linde belong to Hanet, and there's Hagen belong to Zanta. And then eventually in Celestia, there's also Akala and Mahina. So how to use pet in battle is that pet, they give you two things. They give you raw stat and they give you a unique ability. A pet stat is special in a way that is, the stat that they give you is treated as an actual traveler stat instead of equipment stat. And what I mean by this is that equipment stat has different calculation from the normal stat you would gain through leveling up and through awakening. So 100 extra attack from your weapon and your accessory is not the same as 100 attack through leveling up, awakening, or pet. Which means that pet stats are much more valuable than equipment stat. So for example, if a pet gives you 50 attack, then it's the same as if a character has no pet and have awakening 1. Hopefully that makes sense. The pet's ability are special in a way that they don't consume a turn like a normal skill would do. You would use them, you would click on your character and you would click on the pet and the ability will activate it, and it won't consume a turn, so it just happens immediately. So if a pet has the ability to say give your character 1 boost point, then you will get that 1 boost point immediately to use. Some pet has ability where it can be boostable using boost point. Using a boosted ability for your pet, it will also charge your ult gauge and it will not hinder your natural boost point regeneration. So at the start of next turn, you will still gain that 1 boost point. And also, pet ability can only be used once per turn, so watch out for that. As for the Divine Beast, they can only be used once per battle, but the effects are very strong, hence why they can only be used once per battle. How they work is that there will be a new battle mechanic introduced with the Divine Beast. Every turn, you will accumulate 1 crystal. Divine Beasts require 5 crystals to summon, and they can only be used once per battle. And I do want to note that beside Divine Beast, you can use this crystal on something else, like the summoning crystal you will get from this update also, to summon other characters into battle. Although they're not as strong as Divine Beast though, but they're still good though. Another thing about Pet and Divine Beast and what makes them so strong is that the buff and debuff they give, they are a new category completely as like ultimate. So you can stack them with your other buff, existing buff. So active buff would stack with passive buff, would stack with ultimate buff, would stack with pet buff. And also Divine Beast is also a separate category from pet buff also. So pet buff would also stack with Divine Beast buff. So there would be 5 different category total you can stack with. Hypothetically, since there are 5 categories, you can have a total up to 150% attack buff on your character. But since ultimate buff, pet buff, and Divine Beast buff are very hard to maintain, It's very much impossible, and not to mention we don't have any 30% Divine Beast buffs yet, so yeah, it's pretty much impossible to reach 150%, but hypothetically it is possible if Square Enix releases a Divine Beast in the future that does that. Pets can be leveled up too. They start out from level 1 and can be leveled up to level 10. The level of the pet determines the initial turn cooldown of the ability and the turn cooldown of the ability. At level 5, the turn cooldown of the pet will be reduced by 1, and at level 10, the initial turn cooldown of the pet will be reduced by 1. To level up your pet, you're just leveling them up as normally, as in through battle or through the special pet experience nut you can use for them. Although there's two things I want to note though, is that the pet's level has a very steep curve at the end. From level 1 to level 5, leveling them up is very easy. From level 6 to level 10 though, it's like an exponential grab. It's like super duper long and it's gonna take a very long time. The second is that the experience nut they have for pet at higher level is extremely giving very little, so don't worry about the experience nut, because the best way to leveling up a pet is through battle. Or you can just put them through a hunt and they will also take a while to get to level 10, but that also works too. Divine Beasts can also be leveled up, and leveling them up will also make the potency of the move they use stronger. Although, most of the time you don't really need to leveling them up anyway, but you will need to level them up anyway for other benefit. And that benefit is connected to the other thing that pet have, and that is the affection system. Pet affection can be gained either through a battle or by tapping them in the overworld, which is kind of like a petting thing, but there's actually no petting animation, so it's actually not a pet, but it's still a pet anyway, I guess, because maybe there's not enough budget to invest in a petting animation, which I'm sad there's no petting animation. The level of pet affection determines how much stat you can raise on your pet, which are these green fruit you can get from the divine tree from where Avite is, the cleric Cait. The higher level of affection you are, the more stat you can raise on your character, or on your pet. And the Divine Beast level also raises the overall cap of how much you can raise. So for example, maybe at level 10 affection, a pet can be raised stat for 100 stat total. If you level up your Divine Beast, you can raise your stat another extra 10 times for a total of 110, for example. As for the green fruit that you use to raise your pet stat, there will be a new tree that drops these fragments you use to exchange with them, and they can also be collected through the Nameless Town auto collector at Samodihiko, kind of like how the Ultimate Garden work. So for a quick summary is that level up your Divine Beast so that you can raise the stat of your pet more, so your pet can be stronger in battle, which gives your traveler more stat to attack with, which means more damage. So therefore, leveling up Divine Beast equal to more damage. So make sure to level up Divine Beast and also affection on your pet. Oh, and speaking of petting, you can have a pet follow you with your team in the overworld. You can only have one though, so pick one of your favorite one and have them follow your team through battle and go fight evil or something. And before I talk about the premium pet, I do want to mention one thing about them, is that you can either get them through the 6,000 Awakening Stone Fragment exchange, or you can get them through 1,000 cat paw. And the one that you get through the cat paw is a different one. It's a copy of the original one. So for example, a Linde that we get through the 6,000 Awakening Stone will have the white color, which is the original Linde color. But a Linde that we get to the cat paw will be a yellow Linde. You can use both Linde on the same team, but most of the time you don't need to have the same premium pet on the same team. But you can. It's kind of like buying an alternate color for your pet, or a copy of your alternate color. Linde, guaranteed crit is nice, but eventually there will be a lot of characters who has guaranteed crit built inside them, so you don't really need guaranteed crit as much anymore. Mafa, one boost point is nice for you to boost max twice in a break, but in the future we will get characters like Adani EX, which will do the same thing anyway, and a lot more characters who also get PP regeneration, like Ogen or Kiruns or Signa, so Mafa also isn't really needed. Hagen effect is very strong, but there is a substitutable free version, a cat named Nyagist. And Nyagist can also do the same thing as to the same extent of what Hagen does, so Hagen also isn't really that important to get. Eri, the best 6000 Awakening Stone Fragment pet. The power of refreshing your ultimate is extremely strong, and not to mention Eri also has an extremely high base magic stat when fully maxed out. By herself she can give up to like 120 or 30 attack or something. There's two ways you can use Eri, and that is one, you can just use her magic stat and just put it on your strongest magic DPS and just watch them deal more damage. Or two, you put them on characters who ultimate are very strong, like in the future there will be Solon and Signa for example. And that's it for the pet that costs 6000 fragment to get. Please note that this is based on the power in JP right now. Pet like Hagen, Mafa, and Linde are very strong right now in EN, where the character that can do the stuff isn't really here yet. So right now in EN, with the current list of Traveler, Mafa would be the best one because Adani EX isn't in EN yet. But later on in the future, eventually, where we catch the JP point, then Eddie would be the best one. I also want to mention is that a premium pet has much higher stat than a normal pet. So pet like Mafa, Linde, and Hagen would have like 90 to 100 attack on the stat, while a free pet will only have to about 60 to 70 attack. So what that means is that even if Linde and Mafa eventually the usefulness would not be as useful anymore, you can still use them and just put it on your character for the attack stat, so it's nice. Next are the premium pet that costs 3000 fragment to exchange for, or 500 cat paws. Lulu. This is Lolo's pet, which EN doesn't have Lolo yet for some reason. You would thought that they would release Lolo before they release the whole pet system, but they not, so Lulu is alone without Lolo. Lulu is cute, but because Lulu is a premium pet, the stat of Lulu is on par with the free pet. And not to mention the effect of SP restoration isn't really as strong for a premium pet, so therefore Lulu isn't really worth going for. Solon Sheep. I wish Solon Sheep has a name, but I don't think Solon Sheep has a name yet. The effective barrier is niche, as in you can put this on your tank and whenever a big turnaround happen, you can make an HP barrier so they can live. But it's a niche ability, so again, it's not really worth going for. Kapu Kapu, the only hat premium pet that is worth going for. 30% damage up is extremely strong when it can stack with other sources of damage up too. The downside of SP is there, but it's not really that big of a downside when the upside is too big. Nyagis can do something similar too, but the effect of Nyagis is only up to 20%. So you have this bad fragment or 500 cat paw, then go exchange for Kapu Kapu or Jumper. Now for the free pet. There is a lot of free pets, so I won't go over all of them. The one that I will go over are the one that see use or are very strong. The white cat. The pet isn't used for its ability, but rather its ability to instantly charge your ult turn 1. What I mean is that when you use a pet ability, you can also use a boost point to increase the power of the ability of the pet. Some pet can be boosted up to level 4, some cannot be boosted at all, some can only be boosted to level 2 or level 3. It's very depending on each pet. So for the white cat, you can use 3 boost points to use the ability. By doing so, it will also charge your ult gauge by 75%. For support ultimate, you will be able to use your ultimate right away. Hence why it's very strong on character like Lynette, Primrose, or Solon even. The white ash cat, which a lot of people call it Nyagis, so I will also say Nyagis. Nyagis has the ability to give one of your ally up to 20% attack buff. And the reason why this pet is so strong is that because you can put this pet on someone who's not attacking at all and doesn't need the boost point, and use it to grant even more DPS to your main attacker, or your main attacker can have some stronger pet like Linde or something. Out of all the free pet, this is the best free pet in the game. Second best right now in JP, because later on in JP we have Sasalistia, and then there's Akala. You can get Akala for free, so there's that too. But for now, Nyagis is the best cat for you to get for free. The black dog. This is another way to charge your ultimate gauge if you don't want to use the boost point method of the white cat. The white dog effect is niche, but sometimes the enemy using a lot of status ailment, putting your characters to sleep or some other stuff that make it hard to consistently shield break and doing damage to them. So the white dog does help alleviate that a bit. Dark brown dog. On a magic focus team, this pet is very good because even though it's only 5%, AoE magic defense down on the enemy is always good. It's like a free version of Hagen, but for magic. The White Rabbit. If for some reason Serenoa A4, which is 3 turns taunt at the start of battle, isn't enough, you can use the rabbit to help make that effect longer. Or if you want to use another accessory slot on whoever you're taunting beside his A4, the rabbit also works too. The Black Rabbit. A while ago the brown dog effect was for AoE, this one is for single target. If your team is magic team, you always want to use this rabbit effect. The White Alpaca is like the free version of the Solon Sheep, so you don't really need to get the Solon Sheep. Always nice to have on your tank character so they can not die. Now for the special pet, which is get through various other methods, Akala is obtained by either having Ochet or by completing Side Celestia Chapter 2, which is like very far in the future. Akala is one of the strongest free pet. Not only is Akala's stat is on par with the other premium pet, Akala effect is also very strong since you put it on a hunter, it's a 10% attack up and damage up. It's similar to what Ogan does, except it's much better because the pet buff can be extended by a character like Lucetta or Mabel. So if you use this on the turn that you break the enemy, you still retain the buff over to the next turn. So, Mahina also get by either having a chat or by completing Side Celestia Chapter 2. If you've done both, then you can get both Akala and Mahina. Despite Mahina's stat is on par with the other premium pet, Mahina effect isn't really that strong since it takes a while to activate and it's also have a long cooldown too. I guess if your team is focused on full magic, then Mahina will be useful, but it's just that the cooldown is too long to make Mahina strong. But I guess that if I go on long enough, then I guess you can make Mahina useful, I guess. The Christmas Cat. This cat is only available during Christmas time during exchange in JP, but for EN, since we already passed Christmas, I don't really know how they're gonna implement this pet. Maybe next Christmas, but then again it might take too long. AoE 50 SP restoration to everyone every 4 to 5 turns is always nice when you're doing an EX3 fight where the fight is lasting longer than usual, so it's nice. And that's it for all of the pet, I think. Please note one thing is that if this release is the same as in JP, on release for EN, the pet that will be available for you are the cat, for the premium pet is Lulu, and Mafa and Linde. The rest of the pet I mentioned here will arrive later on when more C story is released for EN. Now for the Divine Beast. The Divine Beast ability, a lot of them are very similar to each other. The Lion and the Host Divine Beast are a 4-hit AoE that also grant your entire team 10% damage up for 2 turns. Only 1 turn though because Divine Beast go last at the end of your turn, so you only have 1 turn to use that damage buff. The Wolf and the Rabbit Divine Beast are a 8-hit random that grant only 1 turn at 10% damage up, but they always go first and is extremely easy help for shield breaking against single target enemy. For these Divine Beasts, you would change them depending on the weakness of the boss. The 8 hit is used for the single target, but the 4 hit is much more useful for AoE. So all of these 4 Divine Beasts are doing the same thing, it just changed them to hit the weakness of the enemy you're fighting. And then there's the Phoenix Divine Beast, which is my favorite one. It's a one-time healing everyone up to 50% of the health, and also grant them one-time damage reduction. If you don't need the other Divine Beast damage buff or shield breaking, then the Phoenix Divine Beast is the best one here because if you mess up in the battle somehow and you don't want to spend a turn to revive your unit, then you can always use the Phoenix to help. And that's it for the Divine Beast too. I think that right now in EN only the first one, the Lion Stolen Worm, will be available. The other will also be available by future Seed story chapter. And last, I do want to mention something briefly, is that the Torena will also give you the Manuscript of Salvation, which is like a new menu that completely replaced the whole memoir thing you have right now. It also includes some other feature too. You still have the old memoir collection, and then you have the cutscene replay and traveler cutscene skip, and then you have a section for the pet and the divine beast, and then a section for EX3 fight. Everything is self-explanatory, but for the EX3 fight, to explain it briefly, you refight the boss at a much harder level. There are 3 EX levels from level 1 to level 3. Beating them on a normal level would grant you a crystal, or some enemy would grant you a crystal to summon them. Beating them on EX2 would grant you a fragment that can be exchanged for a strong accessory, and beating them on EX3 will grant you a title. A title is for decorating your profile, which is also a thing that's updated also. There's like a thing where you can check your record of how many traveler you have, how many max out 5-star traveler you have, and put your favorite traveler. Also put like a title next to your name, so it's nice. EX3 fight is very hard. They are on par with the arena fight, and some are even much harder than the arena fight. But the reward they give is very good. The accessories are very strong. And that's it, I think. I covered most of the important thing. If you have any questions, please ask them in the video. But for now, bye bye!